So this last question, it goes to Ms. Simons first, then Mr. Yancey. What one thing about you, either a personal thing or a policy position, do you think voters of the 94th District should know that has not gotten enough attention in this election?
I think it's really important to know that I actually stepped into the General Assembly for the first time as an environmental activist back in 2002. I would go up to the General Assembly and as a citizen lobbyist for the League of Conservation Voters. So I have a long history with watching bills be introduced and bills die, and we fought against uranium mining in Virginia. We've fought against offshore drilling in Virginia. We've fought against fracking in Virginia. And we have a lot of multinational companies that would just love to come into Virginia and destroy our groundwater and our natural resources to make a profit. And it's every year there are bills that are bad for the environment that are introduced in the General Assembly. And last year there was a bill introduced on fracking that would have allowed companies to keep the chemical mix in fracking a trade secret. And unfortunately my opponent voted for that. He voted to keep the chemicals used in fracking secret so that regulators wouldn't know what was in them, families that live nearby fracking operations wouldn't know what was in the chemical mix being pumped down into the water for fracking. And that's going to come up in the General Assembly. Hey, there are companies that want to frack in Virginia. And every year, they're going to be introducing legislation like that to try to make it happen. And if you elect me, I'm going to be up there fighting every step of the way against fracking in Virginia.
All right, Mr. Yancey. All right, we're almost done. Then you can clap. Mr. Yancey.
Well, let's see. The bill that I recall about fracking, and I know this is obviously something that I want to address, but since it was said that I voted against this bill, the only bill that I recall off the top of my head, maybe there's others, but the only bill that I recall that dealt with fracking was about the Freedom of Information Act, and I voted against that bill. The issue about those things that we are passionate about, those things that we can do in the upcoming 2018 session, I mean, my gosh, there's a lot of things. Early on, I talked about jobs, education, transportation. You obviously, I know I'm working through when you're door knocking every day, you start losing your voice, so forgive me, but obviously the economy is something that's very passionate for me because I coach high school kids. I coach high school rugby, and these are kids that want a great opportunity in future. So when they come to me, they say, hey coach, what can I do about this? What can I do about that? You know, I actually have a kid that wants to be a baker. He wants to go to France, he wants to learn how to bake bread and pastries and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, you think about the excitement and enthusiasm that young people have. Obviously, I want that here because I think that contributes to the great quality of life. So certainly the economy. But one of the things that I really love about serving in the Virginia legislature are all the people that I get to intermingle with throughout the Newport News area. Really, Hampton Roads and the state of Virginia. We've got a wonderful immigrant community of Koreans, of Jewish immigrants from the Ukraine who share with me the excitement and enthusiasm of all the things they want to do. And some of the best legislation that I've introduced has been compliments because of the people that are in this district. We're working with Hampton University on proton therapy or on making certain that historical black colleges are SWAM certified to help launch new businesses and to be able to do new things. These are great bills that ameliorate our community. So there's a lot of things that I think we can do, and I think one thing that wasn't addressed tonight that I think is important is the seniors. A bill that I introduced this year in the legislature deals with some of the crimes that have been going on in some of the communities that seniors are concerned about, and that's something I certainly want to continue to work on. And one of the other big issues that's going on in our communities, and I have two senior parents, we are struggling to find people who are willing to go and become geriatricians. So we need to be able to find ways that we can take care of our seniors and make sure they have access to great quality health care. And then obviously, of course, continue to work with our law enforcement to make sure that our community is safe, to make sure that we're finding new ways to grow our economy. And really, at the end of the day, market Virginia for what it is, the best state in the United States.
And Ms. Simons, you have the opportunity for a short rebuttal if you'd like, and then after that we're going to move to closing statements.
I mean, I would just say on the law enforcement front, I think that my opponent voted to repeal the one gun a month bill, and that has been a real disaster for Newport News. We've got criminals buying guns in Virginia, running them up to New York to sell them as a profit, bringing the money back. It's been a real disaster for us in Newport News. And if you represent a rural area, then maybe it's fine to vote that way. But this is an urban area. This is a place where we have a problem with criminals using guns. And I support the Second Amendment, but every time I get a chance, I am going to want to work with the police to make Newport News safer.
Great. I appreciate both of you staying as focused on the questions as possible.